moving up to get Caleb Downs at number 11. The question is this. Their offense last year was certainly playoff, if not championship caliber. Jordan, have they improved their defense enough to be a legitimate contender?
Yeah, and it starts with Caleb Downs. He's a force multiplier. Look, he was the quarterback of the defense for Nick Saban and Matt Patricia. Enough said. A lot of times, the problem last year for Dallas was giving up explosive plays. Gave up more explosive plays of 25 or more yards than anybody in the NFL. How do you stop that? First, you got to have better recognition pre-snap of knowing where you're leveraged, what the offense is trying to do. Caleb Downs, day one, will be one of the smartest football players on that side of the football for Dallas. The other issue is you got to get after the quarterback. Can't give him time to sit back there and throw the ball downfield. Rashawn Gary, they acquired via trade this offseason, and Malachi Lawrence, their other first-round draft pick, should really help get after the quarterback. I think Caleb Downs can have a massive impact year one.
Mike T, is their defense ready to be good enough for that team to have a legit chance?
Absolutely. And when you think about Jalen Thompson and Rashawn Gary, they did some work before the draft. So I think they've improved all three levels. You know, the big variable here is Christian Parker's never called to play in the NFL, the new defensive coordinator coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's going to do really well, but there could be some growing pains there. But on paper, this is a dramatically improved defense, one that matches or gets closer to their great offense.
And D. Wood, I will ask you, and that George Pickens seems like he's going to be back. He signed the franchise tag. Maybe he's going to play on that happily and be have sort of the incentive to have another huge season for them. You think that the Cowboys, the team that tends to always have something go wrong, may finally have everything right?
Well, listen, I think that they have a championship offense. They can score with anyone. If I've always said with the Cowboys, the defense is at least average.
Right.
At least average. They'll have a shot in the NFC. I don't predict the Cowboys. Like, I have other favorites in the NFC, but I think the Cowboys can raise the level on the defensive side of the football. They will have an opportunity.
Let me get one more team in here, and that's the Chiefs. They also went heavy on the defensive side in the draft, selecting Mansour Delane and Peter Woods, amongst others. Mike T, they had won the division 9 years in a row before last season. Are the Chiefs back to being the best in the AFC West?
Absolutely, Greedy, they are, because of what you just mentioned. I think Mansour Delane is a frontline difference maker. Looking at him here, he can play man-to-man, great ball skills, can tackle. And then Peter Woods a year ago was a top 10 pick. I think Steve Spagnuolo can get a lot out of him. So I think he's going to be a really big difference maker next to Chris Jones. I think the Chiefs get back to winning the division.
So, Jordan, we see that there. The Chiefs are the favorites at DraftKings to win the AFC West. Are they your favorite?
They are, because I trust Patrick Mahomes, and I love what they did defensively. I mean, to Mike T's point, I covered Delane a lot in college. He was the best man-to-man cover corner in all of college football. And Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator at LSU, had a lot of blitz packages where he wasn't very leveraged. He was on an island, so he immediately feels the need for a guy that can lock down on the outside or inside. They'll be able to move him around a little bit, without Trent McDuffie. The draft pick that I think goes under the radar that I love, and Peter Woods is great. He'll be a great understudy for Chris Jones. They got R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, the edge rusher at number 40, just after Peter Woods. He is a monster. I watched every snap of him in college, and every team had to design their entire pass game around where that athletic monster was on the football field. He can absolutely change a game, and he's a sneaky one that no one's really talking about yet.
But the Chiefs are not your favorite to win that division.
No, they're not. They're not. I have the Denver Broncos still winning that division. But here's the thing about the Chiefs that I really like. In 2024, they were 11-0 in one-score games.
Yep.
In 2025, 1-9. 1-9, and that primarily because of the shortcomings on the defensive side of the ball, which they addressed in the draft.
So the pendulum swung one way, and then it swung all the way back the other. Congratulations to Mike Tannenbaum and the entire Tannenbaum family. He's in Ann Arbor for his daughter Ella's college graduation at Michigan this weekend. Good for you and the family, Mike T. We're happy for you.
Yep.
Thanks for a couple of minutes of the NFL rookie mini camps for 8 teams are getting underway today. So it's time for a camp pass. I have some questions. I want to talk about the Eagles. Their rookie class will be headlined by wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. D. Wood, they brought in a ton of new offensive weapons. Lemon is one of them, and a bunch of other wide receivers with the expectation that A.J. Brown will be gone. Is it your expectation that Jalen Hurts will be better this coming season in their new offense?
Listen, I got to see it to believe it, Greeny. I know a lot of the passing game with Jalen Hurts has been outside of the numbers because of, obviously, A.J. Brown. But, listen, with all the weapons they've added inside the numbers with Mekhi Lemon and the tight end, Eli Stowers, It should be an easier passing game to digest, but that's something that Jalen Hurts, quite frankly, hasn't done a lot of in the pros.
Mike T, what are you looking at on all these new receivers in Philadelphia?
I worry about the size of the new receivers. Mina Kimes on NFL Live mentioned something similar the other day. When you look at A.J. Brown presumptively going to the Patriots or someplace else, he's at 8. And look at the weight of all these other new receivers, Greeny. I love Mekhi Lemon, but these guys are undersized. And as Hembo pointed out, Jalen Hurts does not like to throw the ball between the numbers. He's at a rate lower than any other starting quarterback. So when you think about a wide receiver group resembling a basketball team, they're moving on from a power forward and a center. And what you worry about is these undersized receivers, who's going to go across the middle. So I think it's a grade of incomplete, and we have to see how this plays out.
Jordan, how about it? What are we looking at for Jalen Hurts this year?
I love the way they address the specific need, like D. Wood said, of attacking the middle of the field. Jalen's done that at a lower rate than anybody in the NFL over the last 2 years. The two guys they got, Mekhi Lemon, 4th in all of college football in yards per game between the hashes. Remember, those college hashes are a little wider than in the NFL. And then Eli Stowers, 7th overall in all of college football in yards per game between the hashes on throws over the middle. So both those guys, day one, are going to have an impact of filling that weakness that really Jalen Hurts and this offense last year showed us.
Stay in the division there. The Dallas Cowboys went defense with their first Jordan Reed, who is terrific. Put out his way too early mock draft for next year. And I want you to look at the names at the top of it. Forget the teams attached to it. Arch Manning. You don't need me to tell you who that is. Jeremiah Smith. He may very well be the best wide receiver prospect of all time. And then more quarterbacks, Dante Moore, C.J. Carr. We're talking about one of the great drafts. Next year's NFL draft is projected to be what this year's NBA draft is. And let's get Jordan Reed tell you a little more why before I explain to you why this is important. Let's do some QB quick reads. Jordan, let's talk about Arch Manning. Obviously so talked about last year. What is it that he does that will translate well to the next level?
Well, in true Manning style, he's so good between the ears, so he's always taking the ball where it needs to go. But two things that stand out: he's a great deep ball thrower, puts a lot of air on the ball, allows his receivers to get underneath it. He's accurate downfield, and then he creates when things break down. With his legs, he's a great athlete, but also keeps his eyes downfield and hits those big plays when the pocket breaks down.
Dante Moore is next. He probably made the right decision to go back to school. He still might have been the second pick in this draft. What do you like about him?
Well, it's ball location. He is willing to throw the ball into tight windows, and he's got the accuracy and velocity to squeeze it in there almost every time. I think it's impressive just how well he generates velocity and accuracy when his feet are all over the place. He can have a blitz in his face, he can have his feet facing the sideline, and he's still able to generate velocity and accuracy into tight windows. That translates really well to the next level.
And then the last one is C.J. Carr from Notre Dame. What are we looking at in him?
Yeah, maybe the least sexy tape of all of them, but he might end up being the best of the three, honestly. I love his tape when I watch it. He's probably the best touch thrower in all of college football. The ability to layer the ball up and over linebackers, over zone defenders, while still being accurate is absolutely exceptional. He just makes good throws look boring. I think that's one of the things you love and that jumps out of the tape for C.J. Carr.
So this is why I wanted to bring this up. I think this is a fascinating topic. We've just had a lot of conversation this week around the NBA and around the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, coming out with some really strong proposals. Our own Shams using the word relegation to describe what he's trying to do to combat tanking, which is a plague in the NBA. It's historically never a problem we've had with the NFL. But Mike Tannenbaum, you were a general manager in a couple of different places. You have this historic draft class with Arch and these other quarterbacks and the receiver who is as good as anybody ever, and who knows who else will come along. Is that a conversation? I mean, we've heard, we suck for Sam and tank for Teddy and all that stuff over the years. Is that a conversation you think we'll hear a lot through the upcoming NFL season?
I don't think so, and I certainly hope we don't. And one of the many reasons we have the greatest sport in the world, Greeny, and we're on with two foreign players in D-Wood and Jordan, is the players that are out there are playing for their professional lives. So specifically, if we go to that mock draft from Jordan Reed and we think about Carson Beck at Arizona, we talk about Malik Willis at Miami, they're trying to be starting quarterbacks in the NFL, Greeny. They're going to give everything they got. What happens if Kate Klubnik is playing well for the Jets, right? And you could go on down the line with these other teams. I don't think tanking happens because given the physicality of the sport and the players that are out there, they're giving it everything they have. And that's why, fortunately for the NFL, I don't think they have the same problem as the NBA.
What do you think, D-Wood?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think in the NFL, it's too physical a sport to introduce tanking into it. Guys are year to year trying to put their resume on tape, and so guys like in the NBA, you see some teams they're taking their whole starting lineup out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We know that's not going to happen in the NFL. You will literally have a mutiny in the locker room if a coach is like, "Hey, we're going to take you out. You're balling, but we're going to take you out because we want to preserve our draft position." No way in hell that's going to happen in the NFL locker room.
Jordan Rogers, you look skeptical to me.
Did we not learn anything from this draft? I mean, if you look back a year ago, it was Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Lenora Sellers that were going to be first-rounders, top 10 picks. All those guys disappeared. And where was Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson? Afterthoughts. So we got to pump the brakes a little bit on this draft class. I love Arch, but I think Arch still has a lot to improve upon, both mechanically with some accuracy and velocity issues that pop up on tape sometimes. So I think we just got to realize that this is football. A lot can happen. It's a team sport, and guys can come out of nowhere. And guys can also, like Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik, put tape out there that doesn't match the hype that we thought we were going to see. So much can change.
Absolutely. I think that's an important point, an important reminder, because, and I think I said this a few times before the draft, 2026 originally was the year everyone was pointing to, as though it was going to be the year of the quarterback, and almost none of them wound up materializing. And Fernando Mendoza, who no one had ever heard of, winds up becoming the overwhelming star. But Mike T, just to let you finish it up, the biggest point of it here is that this is not something that you would be concerned becomes a factor in the NFL, regardless of how good the talent coming in is.
Right, because the players on the field are giving it everything they have, and windows open and close so quickly. So again, Carson Beck, Malik Willis, teams that may be in the top 5 next year, they're going to be giving it everything they have to preserve their jobs.
Okay, felt like it was worth mentioning, at least as of this moment. People are talking about next year's draft in historic terms. As we